everyone, I'm Cecily Parrish and I'm here with our winemaker, Cody Alt.
Hello everybody.
And today we're going to be tasting through some of our more recent releases. Some of these haven't even been released in the tasting room quite yet. But Cody, do you want to tell us about these wonderful whites?
I would love to. Yeah, they're two of my favorite releases every year. The Sauvignon Blanc and the 25 Rosé. This vintage especially was phenomenal. It's once every decade, once every 2 decades. Basically, 2023 vintage and 25 vintage was exceptionally cool. And that helped preserve the aromatics and the flavors, all the subtle aromatics that would normally be maybe blown off in a hotter year, and also help retain all the acidity that these wines need. And so I was really happy to see it, really lower tonnage year too, and so the flavors and the aromatics are a lot more pronounced. So these are probably two of my favorite wines over the last, as far as whites and rosés over the last couple years. But anyway, as far as the winemaking is concerned, I think both David and I agree. What we're trying to achieve with these wines, we want these wines to be aromatically intense. We enjoy whites that really kind of jump out of the glass, that are really pronounced and then make an impact. We're not looking for a shire wine. We want wines that have a little bit of a racy acidity, so you can enjoy them poolside in the summer or on a hot day at a picnic and stuff like that. They're all stainless steel fermented and aged. There's no oak influence, so we really wanted to express the varieties and make them fruit forward and driven. Basically, oxygen's the enemy with these wines. And so everything we do through the winemaking process and the aging process is to eliminate as much oxygen exposure as possible. And that's because these aromatics that these rosés and the Sauvignon Blanc have are very delicate, and oxygen can kind of diminish and blow off those aromatics. And so we're kind of trying to contain it like lightning in a bottle in a way. And so in regards to the Sauvignon Blanc, thiols are the main player. It's an organic compound that gives the gooseberry. It's always given that grapefruit, passion fruit. Those are some of the compounds you smell. And Sauvignon Blanc has it in abundance. And so what we're trying to do is ferment at a really cool temperature, which helps encourage the wine to have more of those compounds, and at a longer pace, so about 2 weeks roughly. And the rosé is very similar to around 58 to 62 degrees. But in this case, it's esters that actually is what's really important. And that's going to be that strawberry, that red fruit, red apple. But yeah, they're really enjoyable. I think they're very impactful and memorable. So overall, I think it was a great vintage, and probably one of the better ones in the last 5 years. So.
Yeah, I mean, I personally loved the 2024s, which we're wrapping up, and these 2025s, they're very aromatic. I love that. It just, you get welcomed with like a bouquet. That's very strong. Like the rosé, I'm looking at my notes, I've gotten like orange blossom on it before, and you do get some of that bubble gum, but you definitely get the strawberry, and then you get that little hint of citrus. And I think I was saying it's kind of like a clementine, maybe.
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah. There's type of orange family.
Yeah.
And then with the Sauvignon Blanc, David really enjoys that grassiness and raciness component that New Zealand style Sauvignon Blancs have. And we're obviously a little warmer than that, so we're not going to quite achieve that. And we don't really want to be that direction. But we're also not super ripe stone fruit with the Sauvignon Blanc. There's a happy medium between the two, where you get those kind of grapefruit grassiness aromas, but it's also combined with that kind of stone fruit aromas at the time. So
yeah, I think I have put down, because we had gone through some notes previously with the team, and so I was getting mango and hints of grass, kind of more tropical. But again, like you're saying, the stone fruit, because I definitely got peach on this Sauvignon Blanc, which I don't typically.
No, not normally.
So, but we actually as a team came up with like a lot of notes for both of these wines, which I think just speaks to how expressive they are.
Exactly. I mean, if that's what you guys are finding, it's easier to write down. That means the aromatics are there. If you're constantly searching for it, that probably means the wine's a little subdued. And so that's a good thing. And I always get a little like key lime pie off that Sauvignon Blanc. It's always like kind of a lime.
Yeah.
So.
I was curious. The team was tasting these, and there was a little bit like cream or biscuit, and there was no ML on this.
No,
obviously, and not even oak, which would introduce kind of those tertiary notes.
So these wines are stirred actually throughout primary fermentation on the lees, and so you're obviously not going to get a batonnage like in traditional oak aging where you're constantly stirring the lees for 6 months. That's where you really get a lot of your creaminess and biscuit aromas. But because you're getting maybe a subtle amount here, because we do at the end of the day want these wines to be more fruit driven, not so much of that biscuit and but we do want a little bit for just texture. It helps soften the wine, makes it more interesting, more complex, and so I'm glad that's showing through. It's working.
Yeah, it was really an interesting note because I usually find that with like the Chardonnay.
Sure.
But it was really cool to find it this time. Just a hint. It's nothing like, it's not like a Chardonnay where it's buttery and you have that oak influence. So it's just a little something. Cool. Yeah, I love these. They're wonderful. They're going to be great for spring, summer, honestly, anytime. And then as far as food, like, what do you think?
Oh man, I mean, Thai food's always number one on my list when it comes to Sauvignon Blanc. I mean, it loves just a little bit of spiciness, and that acid just cuts through everything. So that's always, but of course, oysters and kind of seafood's always really nice with it. What do you think about the rosé? What would be really good with it?
Honestly, it's funny because you mentioned Thai food. I was thinking our banh mi that we currently have on the menu that Chef Brian is doing, it would be delicious with that. I know it also pairs with some of our reds, but I don't know. This and a banh mi is just like one of my favorite things. But yeah, I could even see, pork. I could see that. But even a vegetarian version of a banh mi would work really well because it's almost like a salad and a sandwich with all the fresh elements of like a kind of a cucumber and fruit and.
Yeah, that rosé is very flexible. You can go with kind of a
absolutely. Well, speaking of the rosé, is it
Are we going to tell them?
I don't know. Can we? Do you want to talk a little bit about the new project? Well, you actually have two projects. We had the Pet Nat release, which was really exciting. Our first like bubbly wine, which is a natural way to do it, where they stopped the fermentation and then put the juice in the bottle, and it finishes fermentation, and so you get carbonation happening that way. So really cool. Cody, you pretty much handled that like a champ. I know that was your first time doing that. So.
Timing's everything with that wine because you need to bottle it at exactly the right sugar level, and it changes by the hour. And so you have to check it at the nighttime, and then you have to come in the next morning and make sure you didn't overshoot it because if you go too far, you're not going to have enough carbonation in the bottle. When you bottle it. So, and if you go too early, you might have too much. And so it's a very fine line. It's a dance, but it was a very fun project, and I'm glad we were able to do it.
Yeah. Well, I know the team was really excited you guys could do it too. We all love it. And hopefully club members, you're aware that you guys have access to that, so please feel free to reach out to Jacqueline regarding that. And then do we want to share about the one that's coming down the pike?
A little bit of details. A little teaser. No, we just thought that maybe a health conscious rosé might be a good option for some people. Some people a little more lifestyle focused that doesn't want the higher alcohol 12-13% rosés. And so what we thought might be a good idea is to create maybe a 7%, 6% rosé, which is what we made. And as far as maybe half the concentration of alcohol to make it a little more enjoyable. And that way you can have a glass of wine and you can still go about your day, or maybe bring it to a picnic or the beach, or maybe perhaps on a hike. And you maybe can even enjoy even more of it. Who knows? But yeah, that'll be a fun little project for those that want a little lower alcohol, lower calorie rosé.
It is. We tasted it last week, and I thought like it's very interesting. I would encourage people to try them side by side because I think you really understand how alcohol is a structure to wine that way. And I've not had that experience before, so I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, the alcohol provides, it's the glycerol component in alcohol, and that's what creates the full bodiness. And so when you take away the alcohol, it feels a lot thinner, And so that's something we have to be conscious of and play around with, because we want it to be enjoyable for you guys at the same time. But it is something you do have to be cognizant of, is that alcohol brings body to the wine, richness, and so it gets a little leaner. But.
Yeah, but I know like the team that did get to try it last week, they loved it. They were like, we're going to take this to the beach. We're going to go hiking with it. So it's definitely a lifestyle style of, not to be redundant, but it's a style of wine that you would take somewhere. And we're planning on it being a smaller bottle probably. We're still working on the logistics of the bottling for it, because we'll be bottling it in June. Yep. So it's not actually available right this second, but it is something we're working on right now.
Yeah. But keep it in mind next time you're here, maybe in summer, it should be available for you guys, and it'll be fun to try.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun.
Hello everybody, I'm out here with Cecily, enjoying the beautiful weather right next to our Block 5 Petit Verdot. And I just wanted to showcase Cecily's favorite wine right now, the 2020 Petit Verdot. It was a wine we were really excited about making. Normally you never see Petit Verdot outside of blends traditionally. Historically it's always been a blender. It's a wine with really large tannic structure, really powerful aromas, tons of black fruit, plum, but it's a wine that's used usually sparingly because it can be so dominant. But when it's handled with care and when it's not extracted to too much of an extent, it can make a really fabulous single variety. And we really thought it deserved its place in 2020. I knew this wine was going to take a little bit of aging. So 5 years later, right now in 2026, it's tasting phenomenal. It's really softened and it's really elongated. The finish has become phenomenal. The oak's integrated, and it's become a really special wine. It's got tons of that black fruit, plum, and that really characteristic violets that you get from Petit Verdot. And it's really enjoyable with food. So I hope everyone enjoys it and get your hands on it when you can. In the rows of the Block 4 Cab Franc, traditionally the Cab Franc from here is traditionally used in our Four Chords blend. It's an essential part of the blend. But in 2020, we thought it deserved its own pedestal as a single variety. It's not nearly as common as Cabernet Sauvignon traditionally in the world of winemaking as a single variety. It's usually used in blends to help out Cab or other Bordeaux varieties. But it's fabulous on its own. It's a little less tannic than Cab. It's a little bit more red fruit driven. You always maybe get a little bit of pyrazines and red bell pepper for a savory notes and spiciness. So it's a really fun variety right now. It's aged for the last 5 years, so it's perfect. It's integrated nicely, around 75% new French oak. So being able to showcase some of these varieties that aren't normally shown as single varieties is really fun as a winemaker. And I think everyone will really enjoy the opportunity to try it. So whenever you get a chance, enjoy.